Hello, guys, and welcome back to the United Embassy. We're here today to review where Mason Greenwood will be by the end of May. We're going to predict and see where he'll be, if he's going to be in the starting 11, if he's going to be on the bench. I'm Harry, and here with, again, my loyal companion, Struan.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We've just come off the back of recording the Manchester United versus Southampton preview. Check that out if you haven't already. We're going to do a quick talk about Mason Greenwood and other players and and how they'll perform against Southampton, and I predict his scores. Again, I'm right, Struan's wrong. Right, so where do we see Mason Greenwood? Do you think he's going to play in his traditional position, which is number 9? Do you see him off the right? You see him in a different position? I don't know why you would, but do you see him? Where do you see him?
I see him as a striker. I've always seen him as our striker. To be honest, he's just so talented. He's the best finisher at the club. Ollie has said that since the moment Ollie came in, just about,
I
and
mean, Luke Shaw.
that's ridiculous. Oh, so yeah, second best finisher after Luke Shaw. I'll be fair there, but I remember the PSG game that we won, the Rashford penalty. That was sort of Ollie's first big result as the manager, and Greenwood was there. 17 years old, I think he was at the time. But if you've watched him in the academy over the past few years, he was just different gravy, as some people would say. He was unbelievable in that centre forward role. He could score for fun. He takes free kicks on both feet. Some people talk about how good a player can be with both feet. He might take penalties with both feet. Nobody takes free kicks with both feet. It's seldom in the game of football. But I love Greenwood. I think he's just such a talented player, and I'm just so happy that we have him. Do you know what I mean? You talk about you can sign anybody you want, but to have a player of that quality come through your academy, be a fan of the club, I think it's absolutely excellent. To be honest, I think we've struck oil in that sense to have somebody of Greenwood's caliber.
Yeah, what I would say definitely is that he should be playing number 9, and I always think Greenwood's going to be this player which is very nimble. He's definitely not weak though, is he? And if he grows in mass,
No,
his height is definitely to an advantage. I mean, he's 5'11", 6 foot. He's not small for a striker, and definitely can hold off players in the future. Let's talk about quickly where he is. He's made 106 appearances. He's got 106 United appearances, obviously, and he scored 30
ridiculous.
goals.
It's 106 appearances.
Scored 30 goals. He's 19. He's 19 strong. If I add that,
So
he's got
it's
11
about a goal in
assists.
every 3 games, just about, and the 11 assists. That's insane. Over 100 appearances before he's turned 20. It's phenomenal, to be honest. And I think as well, over those 100 appearances, he's probably played on the left, he's played on the right, and he's played up front.
Yeah.
He's such a talented player.
It honestly goes by me how young he is again. I still think he's probably borderline 20, right? I'm actually not sure. He might have just turned 19.
October, he's 20.
October, yeah. So he's borderline 20, but he's still yeah. You forget he's been around now. We played against PSG and he was in that squad, and it also feels like ages ago. And it's like, Jesus Christ, what have I been doing with my life? This guy's younger than me.
I remember when in the 2019-20 season, Ollie's first full season, Martial and Rashford were so good off the left. That right wing position, we were playing Lingard, we were playing Provera, James got most of the minutes, and none of them were working. Up steps Mason Greenwood, wasn't his natural position, and he was phenomenal off that side. Towards the end of Project Restart, his goals were unbelievable, and nobody could defend him. Nobody knew how to defend him because nobody had done their research on him. He'd come from the academy, and he was just lethal. You can't mark his left side because he'll go on his right foot. You can't mark his right side, he'll go on his left foot. He was just incredible. And then last season, again, he didn't start the season the best, but towards the end of the campaign, he was one of our best players in that front three. And he made people question the signing of Jadon Sancho. And I think that speaks volumes
Yeah,
because Sancho is one of the best wingers in world football. He's young as well, of course, but Greenwood really was just showing how talented he was.
Yeah, just to refer back to the question a minute ago, I do think he'll be a number 9, but I think for him getting game time at the minute, it's going to be very, very hard. Unless Cavani, has an injury, and we still got Anthony Martial, so it really depends where Ollie sees him as in the pecking order. I personally see him as second choice, like you said previously.
Yep, I think he should be. Cavani is the best striker, and I would have Greenwood as my second choice.
Yeah, I think where Ollie sees him in the pecking order probably is, and after that Leeds performance, let's be honest, he scored 1 goal. He probably should have had 2, and he made some absolutely. He should have an assist with the Pogba chance in the first half. He was extraordinary, and with his ability to play on left and right foot, it suits Ole's system to a T. He plays up front. He can drift onto the right. He can drift onto the left, and he'll be comfortable. Rashford does the same. Sancho can now do on the left and right, and with
fluid front three that could be. Oh,
it's a very fluid front four, and I think it makes sense if you think back to what almost Ole tried it when he first came to the club. He tried playing that secondary striker role with fluid front four. It didn't work because he didn't have the players. Now he's got the players available, and definitely the sort of like tactical nerves to do it. I think his tactics improved, but he definitely has the players, and Greenwood is one of those. He's definitely not a secondary choice or a third choice or a backup, and he's not sitting there going, where the hell's my game time? This guy is debating starting for Manchester United, and that needs to be put on a postcard because that is incredible for a 19-year-old. It's very rare you say that.
It's reminiscent of 07-08 United, isn't it? With Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo, and Berbatov later arrived. The options like Sancho, Rashford, Greenwood, Cavani, Martial, Bruno, the options up front are great. And you think about the calibre of those players, Greenwood is forcing his way into this team. And as you say, he's such an interesting striker because he can drift to the left, he can drift to the right, he can sort of drop a little bit deeper, and Fernandes can overlap him. And I think that's how you get a lot of Fernandes' game as well, when he goes ahead of the striker and Greenwood drops a bit behind him. And at the weekend, he took, I think it was 5 successful dribbles as well. It was the most of the game. He's so good on the ball as well. I think that's so important. And the goal that he scored, I mean, the pass from Pogba, phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. But Greenwood still has so much work to get past Struik, run through, carry the ball all that distance. He started behind Struik and managed to get ahead of him with a bit of distance. And I mean, the finish, he made it look easy. It was ridiculously tough from that angle to go for the far post. You'd assume a goalkeeper could stick the leg out and get that or get a hand down to it. Nope. Just fired it in, and it's finishing, his accuracy, and it's just pinpoint, really. It's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, I think his finishing ability is nothing short of exceptional. But again, like you were saying, he's 19, and this has got to be a growth stage for him. And him being with Eddie Cavani is nothing else going to be better for him. There's nothing else going to be better for him. He's going to learn from one of the best, and he's going to just definitely develop this season more than any.
If you look at the game that we beat Brighton last season in the 2-1 victory we scored at the end, the movement that he scored for that header just screamed Cavani to me. I just thought he's learned that from Cavani. And it's almost like Cavani is an ideal mentor. I mean, a lot of people said that Rashford learned a lot from Ibrahimovic, and I think he did. I think that's definitely fair to say he did. And I think Cavani is the role model for Greenwood. And what I love about Cavani is it's almost something that you don't think you can teach, the movement, just to have that natural instinct as a striker. Martial doesn't have it. We saw that when Cavani came in. The movement, the way he can get on the ball is incredible. And Greenwood, I think he has it. As I said, in the Brighton game, I think that highlighted it. Working with Cavani week in and week out, I think, is incredible. Greenwood could teach Cavani a few things about his finishing as well, to be honest. They could learn off of each other.
Yeah. Greenwood being with Cavani is... It's caught sort of in a way where people were saying last season Phil Foden's learnt exceptionally well. He plays with in the training ground De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and David Silva, and you learn that way. No one really spoke of the back end of the season. Cavani's been with Greenwood for 3-4 months in a training camp. He has a down period where he can't really get that many goals in the games. He starts playing again, and it's almost like his game didn't change drastically, but his striking presence in terms of being in the 6-yard box and being inside the penalty box, he was so much more spatially aware of where the ball was coming in. If the defender's gonna make a mistake, it's almost like when you first watch young players come into a game. You see often like them running behind players ready for them to miss the ball. Say the ball's coming in, a long ball, and the defender's ready to header it away. It's very rare that in a Premier League game you see a defender make that mistake. You see a lot of youth players always trying to run in behind if that ball is missed and they get a 1-on-1, it's free. You see a lot of time, and you see professional players often of a challenge, or they stand in front of the player. If they'd make a heading mistake, it's a lot more likely. Just for example, if a defender gets to clear the ball, where are they clearing it if you're standing right in front of them? Whereas often a youth player will come through and try and put pressure straight onto the defender. They've got 2 exits from that point. Mason Greenwood is definitely learning. He's definitely stopped doing simple mistakes before, and he's definitely cleaning up his whole act before making a big performance in the future, and that is not forgettable. I'm so excited. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm literally he's my star boy at this point, and I rep him every day. He's just outstanding. I genuinely cannot wait to see him in the 9 shirt in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I remember back in January 2020 when we were linked to Erling Haaland when he was leaving Salzburg, and at the time, but before Haaland was amazing, before he was on the World Stage, so I'm not, I do know a bit about football, but at the time, I wasn't that fussed about it because I thought we've got Mason Greenwood, we don't need another talented young striker coming through because I think we've always sort of had faith when you just see what he's done in the academy, and a lot of people who followed the academy have raved about him for years because. Yeah, because of how talented he is. I mean, obviously, I take Holland in a heartbeat now. He's absolutely incredible. But at the same time, I'm just so happy that we have someone like Greenwood. I think our academy is elite. I really do. It's always been fantastic. And the amount of money that we save on a player like Greenwood, do you know what I mean? When you talk about how much he could be worth in the modern market, you're talking 60, 70 million. Given the cost of other players, given his age, Premier League experience, to have somebody of that quality come through is absolutely excellent. And
yeah, his estimated cost, quote unquote transfer market, is £55 million as of now.
That's incredible for a 19-year-old who is just
that's without contract.
He's just going to keep getting better. Yep. I think, do you know what I loved as well is how much praise he was getting. I mean, I know a lot of people joked about how Graham Souness just avoided Paul Pogba and praised Mason Greenwood, but all over, pundits were giving Mason Greenwood the credit. He got on Who Scored Team of the Week, and there's a lot of talented strikers in the Premier League. We know this. He's there. He really, really did look good. And in a game where we win 5-1 and Pogba has 4 assists, Bruno has 3 goals, Greenwood only got 1 goal, he was just so heavily involved in that game as well. He played a massive part in the 3rd goal. As he said, he possibly could have had more involvements. It was just excellent.
Yeah, I'm reading very quickly, comparing Cavani and Greenwood stats. They're actually not distant. Greenwood excelled massively. He got more shots per 90 after Cavani's introduction. He got a higher pass completion after Cavani's introduction. It might just be through progression because he's obviously had an extra year of football as well. You can't bear that in mind. But his carries actually went down, but they were more successful. And that's very interesting to see that his number 9 role, even though he still played in that right, he was still getting in the right areas. And he's got an outstanding 83.2% pass completion, which is better than literally any other Manchester United winger, including when Paul Pogba plays on the left. Which really says it all.
He's like an all-round player, isn't he? As I said, he can dribble, he can run with the ball, he's a fox-in-the-box type striker, he can pass the ball, he can drop deep and receive. As I said, possibly he can work on a bit of his strength to do with the physicality of the Premier League, but at the same time, I think he's more than capable.
Yeah, so do we see Mason Greenwood? Where do we see him by May?
I'd love him to be the first choice striker, because obviously Cavani's going to leave, he'll be 35 in February, and I'd love him to be the first choice and possibly Martial as the second. I know a lot of United fans want us to go into the market for a striker in the summer, but if Greenwood has an extraordinary season, I think we play him as the striker. And as I said, a front 3 of Rashford on the left, Greenwood up front, Sancho on the right. You're talking a 23-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 19-year-old who can play in all 3 of the positions. The fluidity there with Bruno in behind. You've got one of the most exciting front 3s in the Premier League, in my opinion, who, as I said, they could possibly be at United for a decade with their ages and their potential and the ability. We've not even scratched the surface potentially. They won't hit their primes for 5 or 6 years. Yeah. It's a really, really exciting front line, and I'd love it to become a reality, because then of course you've also got people like Pulisic and Ahmad who can come into that.
I think as well, just to add on top of it, the fact that all English young talented sort of not egotistical but sort of like swaggy attackers that play for Manchester United in a United kit. I literally love the concept so much. Please let it work. I don't want it to fall apart. But yeah, I see it.
If you want,
sorry, yeah.
No, I was gonna say if you want a big shout, I could see him getting in the England team as well.
Yeah, I could see him getting in the England team. If he gets in the England team for the World Cup, that will do nothing bad for him at all. Just going, not even necessarily playing. It's hard to get in front of Harry Kane. I understand. But just going.
Well, when Harry Kane does his hamstring again, probably.
Yeah, or just actually he won't get injured because he's not playing Struan. Jesus.
Oh yes, right.
He's just
correct.
Correct. Graham Souness has told us he has other reasons. I don't want to talk about Graham Souness. No, but Mason Greenwood is genuinely an exciting prospect. Do I see him as United's number 9 come the end of the season? I'll be honest, no. And that's for one reason. Because we're going to win the league, we need a top strikers in. No, but depending on where we are in the season, if it's a close title race, I'd probably see us depending on Cavani a lot more. That's just because of his experience in life, in his football career. Mason Greenwood's very young. You have to bear that in mind, and him learning from Cavani, as we just said, is going to be amazing. If it comes to a close end title season, if it comes to a final for top four, I don't doubt it, but if it comes to a situation where we are, it's a bit precarious, or if it gets better, or if it gets worse, as long as we're comfortable to play him and we trust him, and it's not a game which I don't really think we like it's hard necessarily overwhelming for him. I think you can see him two ways. You can either look at him and go, yeah, play him against Aston Villa, or you can look at him play him in against fucking Chelsea. I just swore, Jesus, against Chelsea, because literally, I feel like he will step up to the plate. It's so hard to put a pin on where he is, because he's so fluctuates his performance, because he just one day he'll be the guy that you think is going to be taking over the world, and that's what I feel like I'm at right now, because he's just had that amazing performance against Leeds. But then next week I could be like, when I've calmed down a bit, I'm like, yeah, he's just a kid still. He needs to learn from Cavani. Yeah, Cavani will still be a number 9. But then I'm like, oh, he's Mason Greenwood. He's Mason Greenwood. Yeah. And he's going to score all the goals. So, will he be top? I don't think so. Will he be top in 2 or 3 years? Yes. Full stop.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, you talk about like the big games. Last season he scored against Liverpool, he scored against Roma in the Europa League, scored against Tottenham, scored against Leicester. Big game player.
Oh, he's just such a good player, man. I'm sorry, I need to wrap this up because I'm getting way too excited. We've got a great front 3, great front 4. We've got a great squad. I can't believe it.
You're like a great front 7, to be honest.
we're just flying high because we won one game against Leeds and now we're top of the league.
Wait till Southampton
would lose against
Southampton. It goes right back down to earth.
Well, Mason was not as good as we thought. Yeah, Cavani,
he still
maybe
needs
he's past
time
it.
to develop. He's not ready for the big stage.
It will happen one day. It will happen one day. We're gonna lose. We're gonna lose. They're going to lose our heads about it, and then it's war again. I need to stop. Anyway, yeah, so that was my and Struan's opinion on where Mason Greenwood will be come the end of the season. If we've won the league, he'll be Player of the Year. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Probably discussing Paul Pogba's position across the season, where he'll play. Will he fit in any the future United squads if he gets a contract? Just sign the thing, Paul. Sign the thing. Yeah, Struan, mate, you going to write the contract up on Google Docs or...
My handwriting's nowhere near. Oh, I could do it on Google Docs. Actually, I was going to say my handwriting's not eligible at times. So, yeah, I'll phone up Riola if you want.
Blank check.
Blank check. Oh well, I don't want to ruin the wage bill, but
ruin it.
I do want to keep Paul Pogba. Yeah, mate, it's recovering. Just give it De Gea's wage. Just give it him. Right. Okay. All right. Goodbye.